Rev. Professor Samuel Rutherford, or Samuel Rutherfoord, c. 1600 to 29 March 1661, was a Scottish Presbyterian pastor, theologian and author, and one of the Scottish commissioners to the Westminster Assembly. Life. Samuel Rutherford was born in the village of Nisbet, Roxburghshire, in the Scottish Borders area of Scotland. Rutherford was educated at Jedburgh Grammar School and Edinburgh University, where he became Regent of Humanity, Professor of Latin, in 1623. In 1627 he was settled as Minister of Anwath in Kirkcudbrightshire, Galloway, where it was said of him, he was always praying, always preaching, always visiting the sick, always catechizing, always writing and studying, and from where he was banished to Aberdeen for nonconformity, being very powerful on the side of the Reformed faith and of God living there in Aberdeen. His writing desk was said to be, perhaps, the most effective and widely resounding pulpit then in Christendom. His patron in Galloway was John Gordon, 1st Viscount of Kenmure, on the re-establishment of Presbyterianism in 1638. He was made Professor of Divinity at St. Andrews. Rutherford was chosen as one of the 4 main Scottish commissioners to the Westminster Assembly of Divines in London, taking part in formulating the Westminster Confession of Faith, completed in 1647. And after his return to Scotland he became rector of St. Mary's College at St. Andrews in 1651. Rutherford was a staunch protester during the controversy in the Scottish Presbyterian Church between the Resolutioners and Protesters in the 1650s. At the restoration of Charles II, his book Lex Rex was burnt by the hand of the common hangman, and the drunken Parliament deprived him of all his officers and voted that he not be permitted to die in the college. He is buried in the churchyard of St Andrew's Cathedral just west of the bell tower. The stone is remarkably well preserved. The epitaph on his tombstone includes, "Acquainted with Emmanuel's love." There is also a monument to Rutherford, an obelisk on the hilltop overlooking his former parish at Anwath, in the village of Gatehouse of Fleet, southwest Scotland. Writings. Rutherford's has been described as Prince of Letter Writers, and Charles Haddon Spurgeon described Rutherford's letters to be the nearest thing to inspiration, which can be found in all the writings of mere men. Continuing in an 1891 review of Rutherford's posthumously published letters. 1664. When we are dead and gone, let the world know that Spurgeon held Rutherford's letters to be the nearest thing to inspiration which can be found in all the writings of mere men. Andrew Thomson, a Scottish minister, in a 19th-century biography observed, the letters flash upon the reader with original thoughts and abound in lofty feeling, clothed in the radiant garb of imagination in which there is everything of poetry but the form. Individual sentences that supplied the germ thought of some of the most beautiful spiritual in modern poetry. Continuing, a bundle of myrrh's ointment and perfume would revive and gladden the hearts of many generations. Each letter full of hope and yet of heartbreak, full of tender pathos of the here and the hereafter. Rutherford was also known for other spiritual and devotional works, such as Christ dying and drawing sinners to himself, the trial and triumph of faith. Rutherford's political book Lex Rex, or The Law and the Prince, 1644, was written in response to John Maxwell's Sacrosanctum Regis Majestas and presented a theory of limited government and constitutionalism. It raised Rutherford to eminence as a philosophical thinker. After the Restoration, the authorities burned Lex Rex and cited Rutherford for high treason, but his death intervened before the charge could be tried. Rutherford was vehemently opposed to liberty of conscience and his free disputation against pretended liberty of conscience raised the ire of John Milton, who named Rutherford in his sonnet on the forces of conscience in the Long Parliament. Rutherford also was a strong supporter of the divine right of Presbyterianism, the idea that the Presbyterian form of church government is mandated in the Bible. Rutherford was involved in written controversies over church government with the New England Independents, or Congregationalists. His A Peaceable Plea for Paul's Presbytery in Scotland, 1642, was followed by his Due Right of Presbyteries, 1644, Divine Right of Church Government and Excommunication, 1648, and a survey of that sum of church discipline, penned by Thomas Hooker, 1655, with not only Hooker but also John Cotton and Richard Mather writing books against Rutherford's view of church government. List of works. Exercitations pro Divina Gratia, Amsterdam, 1636. A Peaceable and Temperate Plea for Paul's Presbytery in Scotland, London, 1642. A Sermon before the House of Commons on Daniel, London, 1644. A Sermon before the House of Lords on Luke chapter 7. 22 London, 1644. The Due Right of Presbyteries, London, 1644. Lex Rex, or the Law and the Prince, London, 1644. The Trial and Triumph of Faith, London, 1645. The Divine Right of Church Government and Excommunication, London, 1646. Christ Dying and Drawing Sinners to Himself, London, 1647. A Survey of the Spiritual Antichrist, London, 1648. A Free Disputation Against Pretended Liberty of Conscience, London, 1649. The Last and Heavenly Speech and Glorious Departure of John, Viscount Kenmure, Edinburgh, 1649. Disputatio Scholastica, de Divina Providentia, Edinburgh, 1649. The Covenant of Life opened, Edinburgh, 1655. A Survey of that sum of church discipline, penned by Mr. Thomas Hooker, London, 1658. Influences of the Life of Grace, London, 1659. Joshua Redivivis, or Mr. Rutherford's Letters, 1664. Examen Arminianism, Utrecht, 1668. A testimony left by Mr. S. Rutherford to the work of Reformation, uncertain date. A treatise on prayer, 1713. The Cruel Watchman. The Door of Salvation opened, Edinburgh, 1735. 12 Communion Sermons, Glasgow, 1876. Quaint Sermons, Hodder and Stoughton, London, 1885. Rutherford's Catechism, containing the sum of Christian religion, London, 1886. A discussing of some arguments against canons and ceremonies in God's worship in David G. Mullin, ed. Religious Controversy in Scotland, 1625–1639. Edinburgh, Scottish Historical Society, 1998. pp. 82–99. Initially sourced from Andrew Boner's Letters of Samuel Rutherford, with updates and corrections. See also, Letters of Samuel Rutherford, selected by Andrew Boner. The Banner of Truth, Edinburgh. ISBN 0851513883. Coffey, John. Politics, Religion and the British Revolutions. The Mind of Samuel Rutherford. 1997. ISBN 0521581729. Covenanters. Andrew Boner, who edited Rutherford's letters for publication in 1863. George Gillespie. Alexander Henderson. Robert Bailey. Rutherford Institute, a conservative civil liberties organization named for Rutherford. Bibliography. Rutherford, Samuel. The 16th of March 2016. The 4th of August 2002. John Field. Baynard's Castle. The 7th of October 1644. Rowland, John. Ed. Lex. Rex. The Law and the Prince. Constitution Society. Rutherford, Samuel. 1891. Boner, Andrew. ed. Letters. PDF. London. Religious Tract Society. 1996. Verse. In Cook. Faith. Grace in Winter. ISBN 0-85151-555-X. Spurgeon, Charles Haddon. The Sword and the Trowel. ISBN 0-85151-388-3. Thomson, Andrew. 1884. Samuel Rutherford. London. Hodder and Stoughton. The Life of Samuel Rutherford. Edinburgh. Free Presbyterian Church. ISBN 978-0-902506-23-7. Further reading. Coffey, John. 2004. Rutherford, Samuel. c. 1600 to 1661. Quote. Dictionary of National Biography. Online ed. UK. Oxford. DOI. 10.1093. Ref. ODNB 24364. Retrieved 10 November 2013. A short biography and selected writings. Works by Samuel Rutherford at Project Gutenberg. Works by or about Samuel Rutherford at Internet Archive. A free disputation against pretended liberty of conscience. 3rd Mill. Rutherford, Samuel. Selected writings. Puritan Sermons. Samuel Rutherford by Alexander White at Project Gutenberg. Christ Above All. A collection of works by and about Rutherford and other Second Reformation leaders. Letters of Samuel Rutherford. Joshua Redivivus. In its entirety. Free PDF download. Lex. Rex. In its entirety. Free PDF download. The Last and Heavenly Speeches. And Glorious Departure of John Viscount Kenmure. Generally attributed to Rutherford. In its entirety. Free PDF download. Exercitations Apologetici pro Divina Gratia. Apologetic Exercises for Divine Grace. In its entirety. Free PDF download. Example of Rutherford's literary phraseology in verse form. Rutherford, Samuel. Dictionary of National Biography. London. Smith, Elder & Co. 1885–1900. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. Cousin. John William. 1910. A Short Biographical Dictionary of English Literature. London. J. M. Dent & Sons. Wiki source.